Hi, everybody. Today we're here with Megan Clark. She just finished swimming at Northeastern for the past 4 years. She is really excited to talk to us about her recruiting experiences and then also her time on the team as a Husky. And LRT Sports is really happy to have her. So let's start with the first question. What's the best advice that your coach, Coach Roy Coates, has given to you or the team as a whole?
Roy would always tell us, don't embarrass the family, which is like a nice way of saying don't do anything that would make the swim team look bad, which was always a good reminder that when you're a part of a team, you're reflecting the team as a whole. So that kept us all in good shape.
That's good. That's important because I think a lot of high school students don't really understand that, once you're wearing your team's logo and you're representing a brand and you need to fall in line with that. Okay, so what are some of the critical things that recruits should consider when contacting a college coach? How can high school swim athletes get on the Northeastern's coach radar?
For a big thing for coaches is just making sure that you get the information correct before you email the coach. Because just coming from Northeastern, where we only have a women's team, there would be some male swimmers who would email my coach asking to come on a recruiting trip, and that just shows that you're not really caring and looking into the school. And I think just learn more about the school and try to decide where you would actually want to swim before you contact coaches just for a safety school.
I think that's good advice. I think especially if I was a college coach and I got an email like that, that would turn me off. I mean, not that a guy would even have a chance, but in a different scenario, that would probably be.
Do a typo saying Northwestern, and they were like, come on.
Yeah. Okay, so why did you choose Northeastern?
I chose Northeastern mainly because, well, there are a few factors, but the biggest being the co-op program, which is just what Northeastern does to help its students get a good start in their career path, where we do 6-month internships. That's super unique compared to other colleges. I also really love that it was in a city. It's in Boston. And once I met the team, I was pretty sold on it because the girls are great and the coaches are very kind and actually care about their student athletes.
Yeah, sounds like a good place to be. If you could go back in time and change one thing about your recruiting process, what would that be?
Probably I don't want to say take advantage of being able to go on recruiting trips, but really go in person to campuses and seeing colleges in person changes everything, because each college can make anything sound appealing through the internet, but to really see it with your own eyes impacts a lot of choices that I made. So I wish that I kind of looked more, just because it's also fun.
Yeah, I think especially now, because it's so difficult with not having access to college campuses all the time, that being able to be on campus is such a huge part of a culture that is taken away when you're just kind of on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Okay. When recruits go on official visits, what are some red flags they should look for in the team or coach that they're visiting?
I think a big thing is just seeing how the team functions and try to pick up on any tensions within the team, where the team's priorities are in terms of training and school and partying, honestly. And just ask the real questions. If they're happy there and if they would change anything, what would it be? And try to get the honest answers out of the team.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, especially because often recruiting trips, your host and the team members can act like salespeople to you, and they're not going to tell you on their own merit, I actually don't like it that much, or the coach is sometimes really mean. But I think if you are like, hey, I really want to know this, like this could be my future home, like can you please, help me out, then I think anyone would be willing to, tell them more of the truth.
Yeah. And if you ask like what you would change or what they wish was different, then you'll be able to get a pretty honest answer out of them, because they can't ignore that.
Right, they can't just be like, next. Okay, when would you recommend that a recruit brings up scholarship discussion with their coach?
When?
Yeah, like when in the recruiting process?
I think you should talk about scholarship when you're on a recruiting trip, because you want to make sure that the school is taking you just as seriously as you're taking them. So usually that conversation will come up in person with the coach, and just make sure to talk with your parents beforehand about what your price limits are and what they're expecting out of your college. Not that they're paying for your college, but
Right. I think it's like so hard for basically a high school junior or sophomore or senior to basically negotiate a deal with their boss. Like that's such a sophisticated conversation that young adults even have when they're entering the workforce. So not only is it good
for a teenager.
Yeah. So I think being proactive on that instead of just kind of like letting it happen is definitely some good advice. Okay, so what is Northeastern swim culture like?
Honestly, we're a bunch of nerds. My team, they have extremely hard majors. We're constantly in study hall. That's pretty much where we hang out. Our team bonding is doing homework together, and it shows because we have one of the highest GPAs in the nation. And it's a better way to get to know your teammates, because like we'll take coffee breaks during, and we'll like actually get to talk to each other. And
Cool. Okay, so what was your biggest challenge when it came to competing at the college level?
I'd say the nerves, because it's very nerve-wracking going into a race knowing that whatever you do is going to affect the team as well, because sometimes it'll be neck and neck at a dual meet, and the 400 freestyle relay, which is a very difficult and stressful relay, it could come down to that. And knowing that your race alone can decide whether or not your team wins or loses is something that was hard to get used to.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake. Okay, so I'm going to transition into some more like kind of lighthearted questions to end. Okay. So what's the funniest thing that's happened to your teammate during a meet?
The funniest?
The funniest thing, yeah.
Oh God, I don't know if there's like a funniest thing. The only thing I'm thinking of is like Sarah every single year would dislocate her shoulder during our our fall taper meet. Every single year she would dislocate it like on the second day of our 4-day swim meet. And it's not funny, but it kind of is funny because you'd expect it. I don't know. Swim meets are serious.
Well, it's good that you can make light of things. I don't know, like sometimes it's not just going to be like a funny joke. It's just going to be some like ridiculous scenario that you continually put yourself through. Yeah. But it just like kind of makes the bond stronger. Okay, so then my last question is, if you could compete in any other sport, what would that be and why?
Oh, that's a hard question. In any other sport, I was always jealous of volleyball, because I mean, I'm tall, but I'm just not coordinated. And I think volleyball is really fun, and we go to a lot of volleyball games. I think it would be a fun sport to play instead.
Cool. Maybe in another life.
Yeah,
you'll have that chance.
Maybe if I didn't hurt my knee.
Yeah, that's
my knee injury. 5 years later.
Story. Well, thank you so much for your insight, and good luck with your last year of school and getting, applying your lessons and team culture to the workforce. So I'm
Thank you for having.
LRT. Sorry, did you say
What?
something?
No, I said thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Bye.